Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach the Bible in 100% truth, and Shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, starting with the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of North, Central, and South America, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. And yet today back with the topic of the MOTB, Revelation chapter 13. It's the next prophecy, major prophecy due to take place. And we're pretty much on the doorstep. And, today I'm looking at, I've got an article here regarding the situation. And also I'm going to talk about redacted. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen the live stream from Redacted. That was a day and a half ago. At the minute for me it's Thursday morning, and I think this went up on Tuesday night, and I've had a chance to watch it, and I'm pretty sure you've watched it yourself, and they're going into the topic of the MOTB. I will leave the link in the description box, and this one, as you can see on the screen, is a edited version, the shorter, out of the, I think it was an hour and a half or 2 hour show. They pretty much spent 20 minutes talking about the up and coming digitization of the world financial economy and what it means, and MOTB. And when we go to Habakkuk chapter 2, this is Habakkuk, it says here, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And so this vision is regarding, obviously, the day of the Lord and everything building up to it, and the time of Jacob's trouble, which we're fast approaching now. We come out here with these prophecies of these scriptures, and we can see them playing out right before our eyes. And as it says here, but at the end it shall speak. And the prophecy of the MOTB is speaking loud and clear. There's, you have us that's warning you of this particular prophecy. And over the years, many different men, particularly of GMS, have gone into different articles, different information, and done a lot of research, a lot of work to pull up information, because ultimately we understand what the fulfillment is of the prophecy of the MOTB, and so we know what it is. So at that point, we could quite happily sit back and say, well, we know what the MOTB is, and we know to look out for it, and we could worry for ourselves. But having the spirit of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai put upon you to understand that, then ultimately you're then supposed to go and share that information. There's no way that you could have valuable information like that and keep it to yourself. So over the years, the true men of the Lord, the prophets, have gone out and tried to give you this understanding, this explanation. And with that, we've had to go into certain articles and media, certain movies, and all types of information in the world that surrounds you, and we bring it together to show you, to paint this picture, to show you what the MOTB means and what it's actually taking us towards. Ultimately it takes us towards Jacob's trouble and the deliverance, World War III, and the deliverance of the elect, and the day of the Lord, and great judgment for the people on the earth. And so we tried to give you that information piece by piece, and pull out these articles and put it all together for you piece by piece. So if you're watching these videos diligently, there's many Hebrew Israelites that, they'll say, yeah, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. They'll tell people that they're Hebrew Israelites, and they probably haven't watched a video for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You may not be at a point where you call yourself a teacher or have enough information or understanding to teach, but at least have the decency um, to 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 sit and take this information on board and take it seriously on for the sake of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. But this is the problem. You see, a lot of the Israelites will not do that, and so you're finding that we're out here, we're giving you this message, and now it's at a point where we don't have to do so much work to make you understand it. There are major people all around the world talking about this particular prophecy, and they're showing you that it's about to come to pass, and they're explaining it in exactly the way we've explained it. So now, for example, I don't have to pull up all these different articles and so on and so forth. I can just pull up a link from Redacted and say, watch this link, and they'll explain what it is, and they're doing it to a T. And this is the prophecy speaking loud, and this is why we don't have to do so much work to explain what it means. Now we can just say to you, click this link, and they're explaining exactly what the MOTB is. In terms of having a digital identification, in terms of being able to use that as a monetary tracking device, being able to use that to track you physically, your physical whereabouts, and then it leads into other things. Ultimately, with the digital ID, you will be contained into 15-minute cities to reduce your carbon footprint, and ultimately, there will be no, at the minute we're calling it a digital financial system, but they will change the financial system to a credit score system. So it will get to a point where you have this digital ID. They want you to live in this particular world, and you won't have £10,000 or 20 grand, 30 grand sitting in your bank. You'll have a digital credit score. And so depending on, for example, if you were to speak up against the government, they will reduce your score. And then with that low score, you will not be able to participate in certain things in society. So, the digital identification and the using it to buy and sell goes a lot deeper than that. And, these are all the things that we've been explaining to you up until now. And, people like Redacted, for example, are explaining it in exactly that same way. The WEF announced that at some point they are expecting anybody to be involved in society and a part of society to have a digital implant under their skin to use that to buy and sell. So that's the WEF, World Economic Forum, telling you directly what we've been telling you according to this prophecy. And you're noticing, at the minute this year, particularly, we're finding a lot of people who are giving out huge warnings about this digital currency kicking off. There have always been the prophets giving you this understanding, and then you have people like this, like Redacted on the screen, and what you have different levels of people giving you the truth. So you'll have people like Redacted, and obviously I don't have the proof, but it's my belief that you have the elites who have their agendas, and they like to put pieces of information out there slowly to gradualize your mind to it. So what they will do is they will allow certain organizations or certain groups of people to speak up about certain pieces of information. And for example, Redacted, I believe, are one of those. So, they always speak about this particular topic. You can see at the bottom, there's another video from 8 months ago. Klaus Schwab announced his new plan to rule the world. Well, this is not a new plan. This is the MOTB. So it's pretty much as old as these scriptures are, because it's been written in these scriptures. And this is a plan of the Most High to use the Edomites, to set it up, to test the Israelites right before the day of judgment. So, if, for example, You come to our videos, we're the prophets, we give you this understanding in the name of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, through the Holy Spirit, and have our videos taken down, and we get shadow banned. And for example, I'll give you one example. On this channel, I looked the other day. I've got this channel. It's got 94 subscribers. I uploaded a video, and after 5 days, it's got like 8 views. When I upload the same video on my backup channel, which only has 5 subscribers, it's obviously not well known. It's not well used. There's no shadow banning going on that particular channel. So even though it only has 5 subscribers on the backup channel, I managed to get, again, 8 views in about 4 days. So I've pretty much got the same number of views in 4 days. But on my main channel, this channel that you're listening to now, I've managed to get 8 views in 5 days, and I've got 94 subscribers compared to the 5. So this particular channel, I'm just a one person on my own with my tiny little channel, my 94 subscribers, and they're shadow banning some of the videos. That's why I have to talk in a certain way. So for them to allow people like Redacted to speak on this particular subject and break it down to a T, break it down so well and give you all the information in the way that we give it to you. Look at the amount of views. They've got 285,000 views on here. So, you're telling me that the powers that be of YouTube don't know what they're speaking about. Yet, if I speak on the same subject and use certain keywords, they'll flag up my video and strike me and ban me for a week. So how is it that I'm being looked at? Yet this particular channel with 285,000 views on this one particular video, nobody will look at this. No one will flag it up. No one will ban it or anything. Now, from time to time, people in this particular similar role, you see them come and go. Sometimes they get taken down. Sometimes they're there. A lot of times they're there to give you bits of information, and it's good to go to them. You will pick up little bits of information. Ultimately, what they're doing is they're being fed from a higher source. So, they could bring out certain bits of information, but they don't bring it all out, and they're told, you can bring this out, you can bring that out. And what that does is that feeds society through these so-called truther videos, you see, and that's how they hit the middle classes. We're the prophets. When we speak this truth, this understanding, we're only trying to reach the elect, because only the elect will be delivered in the day of the Lord, and the elect are a very small number. So in a way, you could look at this group as like an underground group, in that it's not a huge group and they're not well known, although the word of the prophets are going out on YouTube, so the word is well known. But who these people are, and this particular group of the elect is a small group of people. So you have this group of people talking in the name of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, and outside of that, you don't really have that going on. But then you jump a massive, huge step up to someone like Redacted, and they'll break down the same information right on cue. When it looks like the WEF are looking to make big moves. So that's how they're fed the information, and then they're told at certain times, yep, okay, you can drop that now, because we want to put that out there. And what will happen is, this will come out here from Redacted. Certain truthers will watch it and go, yeah, look, it's true. So now you have the middle classes talking about it, and then what that's doing is it's readying people. So when they actually hit you with it, you've kind of half ready for it. And like I say, I'm not trying to take away from what they do. I subscribe to them, and it's great to see them breaking down the MOTB in the way that we do. And if you haven't seen it, I will leave the link in the description box. Another video was on GMS Vegas sit downs 144K, and this brother put up a video. It says, watch before it's deleted, Richard Werner on the imminent threat of CBDCs. And No, sorry, his particular video is sorry entitled at the bottom there. This team like banking economist is constantly blowing the alarm on the MOTB. So I'll leave the link for this video in the description box. And again, if you listen to this economist and he talks about the plans of the banking elites and this digitization and the MOTB, he speaks about how these elites, the ones who are pushing this particular agenda, are being very careful about the way that they feed it to us. And this goes back into, for example, things like Redacted and these other types of channels like that. You've seen that huge announcement last week from the WEF to say, look, we were expecting people in society to have implants, microchips under the skin. So it's from that point onwards, it's pretty much a done deal. That message is coming out from the Worldwide Economic Forum. So if you're anywhere in the world and you want to be involved economically, and you want to be involved in buying and selling and having money or whatever it's going to be, then you're going to have to somewhere along the line fall into guidance with what these guys are telling you, because they're the World Economic Forum, and so they pretty much advise economies, if you like, on how to run it. And obviously you have the banking elites, they're crashing their current system to introduce this new system. So to do that, they are going to bring it in very gradually. We've seen what they've done in the course of 2020 and 21. They've given us like a test run, and at the minute, this situation with inflation increasing and the crashing of the dollar, de-dollarization, is the slowest wind-up clock you've ever seen. It's like, as if we're winding it and we're winding it and we're winding it. And what that's to do is to prepare the people. And slowly in between, they want to bring out these messages. Because, they up until now, people will call us conspiracy theorists. But ultimately, at some point, we are giving you future events, future prophecy. So it does have to happen. And when it happens, nobody on the planet will be able to say that this is some sort of conspiracy theory, because it will actually be existing. And so at some point, the powers that be have to tell you that this is what exists. And this is what's going to freak a lot of people out, because you're going to have people who aren't going to be quite ready for it. You're going to people that are resisting it because they're going to understand the scriptures. And some of those are going to be Israelites and some of those are not going to be Israelites. And it's going to be a whole lot of confusion and chaos going on at that particular time. So, they're going to take that time and blend it all in. So what they'll do at the meantime, don't think this is going to be the last thing now. We've just had that announcement last week. Now we having, a channel like Redacted, which is quite well known, pretty much laying it on a plate. And I'm not saying that, they're part of the agenda and this, that, the other, but it's obviously you have these certain people, or if you call them alternate news channels, and they'll bring out certain bits of information. And ultimately, this web that the banking elites have, these devils, these true devils, this web that they have, is a very intricate and deeply woven web. So they have ways of getting information out there. And like I say, they're going to have to announce it very soon. Looking at it, I believe 2024 is a big year, and I've said that for many years, that for some reason 2024 seems to be a big year, and now we're getting close with the prophecy. I can see why. That's in my spirit, but I could be wrong. But Lord willing, that is the year that they push this MOTB for real and make it mandatory. And we have digital currency set up all over the world. De-dollarization is on the go, and it's just a matter of time. Jumping over to Revelation 3 and 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. and it's the MOTB that will, be offered to, as the scripture tells you, Revelation 13 tells you, it will be offered to all men and women on earth, free, bond, rich or poor. And so that is the temptation. You have the Edomites, the Edomite power structure, which is pretty much controlled from America, Babylon the Great, and they've come up with this plan to microchip everybody on the planet Earth. And this, ultimately, the understanding and the power to do that is given to them by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, the Most High. And this is a huge test for the nation of Israel, because we know only Israelites can be delivered in the day of the Lord. Yet out of the Israelites, most of them are going to die in either in the time leading up to the day of the Lord, throughout the time when they make this MOTB mandatory, Jacob's trouble, or they will be put to death on the day of the Lord. So this is a time of temptation that we're heading into. We could very much be in that time of temptation next year, this time next year, and there's not long to go. So those who don't take this message seriously, will suffer the consequences. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. So when 2020, 21 came along, so I'll give you an example. You have these Israelites. They claim to be Israelites. They tell you, yep, it's all about Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And when it came to 2020, 2021, that situation that everybody on the earth was facing, and there was a certain scenario that everybody was worried about. And during that time, you sat at home, you watched TV, and the media, the powers that be, the agenda, bombarded you with messages regarding your safety. And they said that to prolong your safety, you need to come in to see us, and we need to give you X, Y, and Z. We know what that was. And so you had a choice to make, a tempting choice. Do I listen to these people and safeguard my health and do what they say, or do I trust in myself and trust in, depending on whether you're, if you're a member of the elect, then you would have been thinking of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. You would have said, do I trust on them? And if the answer was yes, then you would have stayed clear of what they were telling you to do. And so that was a time of temptation, but it's not the time of temptation. It was a test run to the time of temptation. And that time of temptation is when they offer you the MOTB and they say, you cannot buy or sell without this. And you're going to know, according to these scriptures, that, if I take this, the Most High is definitely going to destroy me, being an Israelite with a chip in my hand, through Jacob's trouble or the day of the Lord. You've got a lot of Jakes out here at the minute. Again, as they say, yeah, they claim to be into this truth, and they give you the term Hebrew Israelite, blah, blah, blah. And they pretty much go out and live their lives the same way that they were living it before they came to this truth. And a big part of that life evolves around going out, stacking P, making money, stacking P. And what a lot of you Jakes are going to realize, is that very soon that this economic system is going to crash. So you're going to be in this cycle of events, from week to week, month to month, stacking that P, making your P, stacking your P, making your P. And then, you got your 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, you got your 2 mil, whatever you got. At some point, this worldwide economic system is going to crash. So you're going to wake up, overnight, and you're going to go to bed one night with all your P in your bank, and you're going to wake up the next morning, and the system's going to be crashed. You're going to have no money. It's going to be nothing. You Jakes with cash stuffed under your bed, you get people out there They got 50 grand in a bag under their bed, buried in the wall, or whatever else. When that system crashes, your pieces of paper are worth nothing. So, you know, people are out there now today working hard, stacking their P, doing their thing, and you try and give them this message, this warning. You say, look, watch these videos, do this, do that, get into the Hebrew. If you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite, shouldn't you know some Hebrew words? But they don't know none. They don't know any. And they watch the videos, but they watch them when they're ready, because they've got this going on and they've got that. I'll watch it, but I've got this going on and I've got that going on first. And so what you're doing is you're making this warning. You're putting this warning to the side, and you're saying, yeah, I'll deal with it when I can. Now, obviously, yeah, we've all got a life to live, but at some point, if you keep treating the warning in that way, at some point it's going to be too late, because you're not really keeping your eye on it. And then when it comes to when the alarm goes off, you've heard this all before. You've been told, about the scriptures, but have you built up the spirit to deal with the situation? Have you built up the understanding within you, the strength? Have you called on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to give you the spirit? Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. So the only way you're going to survive this time, when the worldwide economic system crashes, all your money's worth nothing. They're telling you, that you've got to take this microchip in order to be a part of society, and you're going to refuse. And your wife's going to be screaming at you, you're an idiot. You've got these kids to feed. You're whoever else is just going to think, you ain't going to have, you could say, people that are just going to think you're a madman, but you ain't really going to have get that far. People are going to be in distress. First of all, they're going to realize that all their monetary value, whatever they had in the bank, has disappeared. Then they're going to realize that they can't go to work the next day. They can't buy anything anymore. A lot of people live from week to week, hand to mouth, from paycheck to paycheck. So, what happens when it's Thursday and you're waiting for tomorrow's paycheck so you can live again for another week, and then the system crashes on a Friday, and by Monday they say, well, this MOTB is mandatory, you've got to take it. You've spent all weekend panicking with nothing to eat in your house, and these people are going to run for it. They're going to run to it. They give you all this talk about Yahweh B'Hashim, Yahweh Shai, but when the money's on the line, they're going to run. And ultimately, you need a special spirit to stop you from running to that situation. We all live in that scenario. Now, I go to work, I do my basic hours, and then I have to do overtime. And then by the time I earn overtime and my basic wages, I'm paying my bills. And with the cost of living crisis, I'm pretty much breaking even. I've got nothing left. And I'm thinking, how can I be doing overtime and still covering my bills and nothing else? And so this is living, paycheck to paycheck. So I'll be in the same situation. Everybody's pretty much, 90% of the population on this world are going to be in that situation. And that's why, when it comes to this digital identification, when they make it mandatory, instead of setting it back up with a monetary system, saying, oh, you had 10 grand in the bank, so what we do, we'll give you 10 digital grand. They're not going to do that. They're going to say universal basic income. Here's digital identification. You take this chip, we'll give you £2,000 worth of credits a month. And a lot of broke people, there's a lot of people out there that are bone idle, live off the benefit system, and purposely don't want to work. And a lot of these people, they sit at home, they never work, they claim benefits, they live a basic life, and they grow fat, and they grow huge till they're like 25 stone, and they're 84 years old, and they're 20 stone, and they've got fucking diabetes and whatever, and they're falling apart. And what it is with a lot of these people is they've chosen that particular lifestyle. Gone are the days when people are unemployed and ashamed to be unemployed. They want to get back to work. That doesn't happen anymore. People want to be unemployed. They say, yeah, just give me 2 grand and I'll just sit here and do nothing. And they can get that money off the welfare, especially women. That's why you find a lot of women in that situation. And ultimately what that turns out to be this degenerate adult with no life skills that just pretty much sits at home growing and just living in your little area. Bring up a couple of kids and teach them how to be a brat just like yourself. So this is the situation. This is the people that this society generates. These are the type of people you go out and see on a daily basis that you walk past. When you're watching YouTube and you're seeing people arguing over stupid stuff, stabbing over nothing. This is the type of degenerate people that the society creates. So when the system goes crash and there's nothing has any monetary value, they'll say, look, take this chip and we'll give you £2,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is worth of credits a month. And with that, you can go and scan yourself into the shop and you can buy your food, you can buy your cigarettes, you can buy your beer, and whatever else. If you're lucky enough, they've probably got what are those legalized cannabis shops or whatever it is in your area. Those I don't know what they're called, what the proper name is, but basically, So this is like the person who wants to be unemployed's dream. That's like their dream. All within your 15-minute city, so you don't have to bother buying a car, and that's about it. You can barely these type of people barely leave their area anyway. They're not the type of people to really get on a plane and go abroad and see the world. So Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai is cutting off the dead wood from the nation of Israel, the fat, the excess fat, the bullshit, the nonsense, just cutting it all off. Time of Jacob's trouble and then the day of judgment. And so to make it through that, to stay away from this MOTB, you need that spirit put on you to keep you from the hour of temptation, from that time of temptation. And if it ain't put on you, you're going to crack. You're going to crack under pressure. There's this phrase. You see, in the UK, we have a phrase called bottle it. And if you say that someone has bottled it, you mean they have lost their courage at the last moment and have not done something they intended to do. Okay, and that's what a lot of you Israelites are going to do. You give it all the talk now. Yep. I'm not going to do it. Blah, blah, blah. I know what it is. Yeah, I got it. I heard you. I don't need to listen to the video again. I heard it. And ultimately, we can see the signs. The warning signs are there. As a spiritual person looking at you, there's a lot of warning signs to say that this person is not going to be given that spirit in that time. And so, as it says here, you Israelites are going to bottle it. If you say that someone has bottled it, you mean they have lost their courage at the last moment and have not done something they intended to do. And it says when it comes to the phrase crack under pressure, okay, so that's what it's going to be. This is a time of temptation. A tempting time, it brings pressure. If you're a married man and you say, yeah, I don't want to cheat on my wife, I'm not going to do anything, and then a naked woman sits on your lap and starts dancing like 2 inches from your nose, what are you going to feel? You're going to feel under pressure. She's going to say, well, I got a wife and I shouldn't be looking at what I'm looking at right now. And she's going to be doing the opposite, trying to entice you more and more. And ultimately, you're under pressure in that moment. And, some men crack and some men wouldn't crack. That's the situation, cracking under pressure. And it's going to be the same with this MOTB. When Jake's money, when Jake's P is on the line, when you've got your baby mum screaming at you that I need this bread, I need that, and all you lot keep going about this, banging on about being a Hebrew Israelite. She might even ask you in that day, if you're a Hebrew Israelite, how many Hebrew words do you know? And you ain't going to have an answer. And that's when you're going to start to crack under the pressure. You Israelites that don't take this seriously and call on the name Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Because when it comes to the phrase crack under pressure, there are a variety of synonyms that can be used to convey the same meaning. Some alternatives to crack under the pressure include lose one's composure, especially when your pee is on the line, and succumb to stress. And that's what you're going to be receiving from your wife or your missus or your girlfriend. You're living at home with your mum and your dad, and they've gone down the station, they've got themselves chipped. They went to the shops on the way home, they bought a few bits and pieces. Now, they're going to start rationalize it because your carbon footprint. So they were only allowed to buy enough for one person through their chip on the way home. They've got home with their individual shopping bags. And now you're the son, you're sitting at home, you've been bumming it around. And now you're saying, oh, can I have a bit of what's in your bag? They're going to say no. They're going to say, go down and get your chip and go to the shop on the way home and get your rationing that you're allowed. Because you're going to be in a worldwide economic crash. So if the money system crashes, the shops crash. The shops aren't going to want to do business. How are they going to give away their stock to you when there's no monetary value? What are they giving it to you for? Everything's going to go down. Everything's going to collapse. You go online to do your shopping, it ain't going to work. Because there's no monetary system. There's going to be no taxis, no monetary system. So no trains, no nothing. Everything's going to fail. And they're going to set it up with this digital system. Take this to be a part of the new society. And a lot of you are going to succumb to the stress of having to, this new society is pretty much going to start up. If you're a member of the elect and you avoid this MOTB, you're going to see this old society disappear with this fiat currency, paper notes, coins, checkbooks, credit cards. You're going to see that disappear, and you're going to see a new system implemented, which is a digital, possibly with the credit source system. And you're going to then try to avoid being a part of that new society. That's a very hard thing to do. You need the spirit put on you to survive that time of temptation, Jacob's trouble, and to not succumb to the stress. It says flinch in the face of adversity. And that's what every single member of the elect that's alive on this planet Earth at the time when they make that chip mandatory, you're going to try not to flinch in the face of adversity through the spirit of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Just fall apart under the strain. And that's what a lot of you Israelites are definitely going to do. Fall apart under the strain. When it came to 2020 and 21, like I say, you sat at home and all of a sudden there was a big scare around the world and your health was under threat. And the powers that be told you, if you want to make yourself safe, come to us and, come under our wing. And a lot of people didn't trust them and a lot of people did. And we know how that's turned out. Going under their wing wasn't a good thing to do. You were better off sticking it out on your own. Now, those of you that call yourself Hebrew Israelites that didn't go under their wing, didn't take the thing itself, but what you did do is you gave in, and at some point you took a test. And so even though you didn't take the actual thing itself, what you showed in your armor at that point was a crack in your armor, a crack under that pressure. You see, I was under that pressure just like everybody else on this planet. And at that time I was working in a hospital, which I still do actually, and I had pressure. There was this killer thing apparently roaming around the planet, taking out people, knocking them off their feet. And so I had a choice to make. And do I trust the elites of this particular society and the powers that be, or do I trust in Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai to get me through that particular period without having any effect on my health, ill effect? And Lord willing, I made it through. All praises to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And I'm pretty sure anybody that's out there that will eventually be seen as, a man of the Lord in that day. I'm pretty sure none of them took a test, and taking the test wasn't going the full way and taking the whole thing. But like I say, what you showed is a crack under that pressure, fall apart under the strain. This is a breakdown when the going gets tough. And that's what a lot of you Israelites are going to do when you've got your families, angry with you. You got like I keep saying, you got your baby mother, your wife, your girlfriend screaming at you, saying, you got this child, the child's going to be making up all this noise. If you can't see this coming, like I say, you're not going to stock up. Even if you stock up, how far are you going to stock up? If you're not really earning great amount of money as it is, what can you stock up for? A week, 2 weeks? So, as soon as the financial system collapses and the worldwide trade and everything like that collapses, there's no more food in the shops. You may have 2 weeks worth of food stocked up in your house, but you're going to start panicking from that first moment. And like I say, when you've got these family members that going on at you, getting emotional, raising up the emotional aspects of it, you're going to be put under pressure, and it's very easy to break down when the going gets tough. It says each of these phrases captures the idea that someone is unable to handle the pressure or stress and ends up exhibiting signs of distress or breaking down altogether. In general, these synonyms are used to describe someone who doesn't have the ability to rise to the challenge when faced with a difficult situation. Back to Revelation 3 and 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. I will give you the ability, I will put a spirit on the members of the elect to rise to the challenge when faced with a difficult situation. And all you other Israelites are not going to have that. Now, when you read these particular phrases, which all come under cracking under pressure, as it says, they fall apart under the strain, break down when the going gets tough, unable to handle pressure or stress, and ends up exhibiting signs of distress or breaking down altogether. So this is what's going to be created. This is the scenario. This is the judgment coming from the Most High. And this reminds me of Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 5, it says, for thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with a child. Whether do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, for none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he, members of the elect, shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. And so that yoke is going to be broken off the members of the elect. And through the time of Jacob's trouble, certain members of the elect will receive spiritual power to help them get through the time of Jacob's trouble, and then the deliverance will come. And obviously with that there will be a change. And so that yoke is broken. Yahushua has redeemed the members of the elect, but you other Israelites that don't take this word seriously will be left out here to continue with the judgment that is taking place in World War III. That's if you haven't suffered in the time of Jacob's trouble. But yeah, it says here, ask ye now whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with hands on his loins? And this is representing men looking like, don't forget, Jeremiah has this vision of the day of the Lord, and he says, of the time of Jacob's trouble as spoken of here. It says, alas, this is the time of Jacob's trouble. And he says that he sees men and pretty much looking like they're women, as if they were giving birth. And it says all faces are turned into paleness. And that goes back to cracking under pressure. It says unable to handle pressure or stress and ends up exhibiting signs of distress or breaking down altogether. So when you got men acting like women, screaming, they've got their hands on their knees, their faces are white, and they're screaming as if they're giving birth. This is men, fully grown men, breaking down altogether, exhibiting signs of distress. This is the day, the time of Jacob's trouble leading up to the day of the Lord. This is judgment for everybody on the planet, apart from the members of the elect. It's not just, the monetary aspect of it. You're also going to have spiritual apparitions. You're going to have chariots in the sky, so-called UFOs. And obviously, once World War III starts, you'll have a military aspect to it. And then once the destruction hits America and the elect are beamed up, you're going to have people in the land of America, Israelites, wicked Israelites, as well as the people of the other nations, as well as Edomites, and they're going to be destroyed through ICBM, missile fire, and also laser fire, concentrated laser beams from the chariots. Jumping over to this article, this is the top WEF official. Dangerous conspiracy theorists must be eliminated. And this is July 25th, 2023. You see, so now we're getting to a point, we've said that these things are going to happen all along, and you've seen things happen sporadically. A little something here and a little something there. You might wait 6 months, a year between little bits of information to come out. We've seen a massive shift in pace, and we've seen, like I say, we've seen the WEF announcing that microchips are a part of the future, and we've seen people like Redacted talking about the MOT plain as day. When Habakkuk 2 says make it plain upon the tables, Redacted made it as plain as it can be. So this message is out there, and it's starting to move fast, and little droplets are starting to be put out there into society, and it's all going to steamroller from here. It's going to build up. By winter, this January, you would have heard of a lot more about this particular scenario. And like I say, come 2024, Lord willing, that's the year they decide to implement it. Crash the system and out with the old and in with the new. But yeah, this is top WEF official. Dangerous conspiracy theorists must be eliminated. So this is now one of their main agendas, again, that they're going to push alongside feeding you in, as they now start to feed society, because, we're speaking on behalf of Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So, the things that are happening now, we've already told you of. So really, our minds are in the future. We're men of the future. So I'm already thinking of 2024. My mind's already set in 2024. And I'm now trying to picture and see that, rather than what's actually happening now. Because what's actually happening now, we've already explained to you. But what's happening now is that the information we've brought to you is being spread into the middle classes, into middle England, into middle America, middle classes, into that everyday Joe. Is starting to hear about these things. So while they step up the pace with those things, alongside it, they're going to run with this agenda. The fact that they want to eliminate conspiracy theorists, because the scriptures tell you that there is a wicked group of elites, pretty much the wicked, who control this earth. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and so as they make their plans clear, they want to steer you away from thinking that that they're a bad set of guys. They want you to assume that this is all natural occurrence of events. Yet we're out here telling you otherwise, and that's why we pretty much are under pressure when it comes to these. They cut our videos and so on and so forth. So this is a top World Economic Forum WEF official has called for so-called conspiracy theorists to be banned from accessing the internet due to their dangerous belief that a global cable cabal, sorry, of elites control the world. So, they want to shut down people on the internet, pretty much speaking the truth. And who does that make you think of? It makes you think of the prophets. And so, there will be a famine of the word, and so things like this have to take place. So, like I say, as they start to push the agenda more thick and fast towards the middle classes, you're going to start to see a push towards shutting down certain types of topics of conversation on the internet, and they're going to try to bring a famine of this word. And this is so who you're looking at here. This is Yuval Noah Harari. If you haven't heard of him, he says, who is Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, condemned the theory that a shadowy elite of billionaires and globalists control the world as, and I'm not going to say these two particular words, and dangerous. So they're saying that, anybody that comes up with this claim that there are these banking elites with these particular agendas, they're pretty much saying that we're anti small hat. But, we're just reading the scriptures. So the scriptures, ultimately what they're trying to do is shut down the word of the scriptures, because the scriptures is telling you that, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and they think secretly upon their beds, and in the morning they practice these devious plans. They put them into practice, and they do it because they can, and they rob a man of his heritage, and so on and so forth, which is what they've done to us. It says, during an appearance on the Lex Fridman podcast, Harari pointed out that the world is too complex for powerful people to control it. So they want to throw you back into that. Everything's just a random scenario, a bit like the Big Bang Theory. It's not like this because we made it like this. It's like this because of survival of the fittest. It's just how it happened to turn out. And it's a way of pacifying the masses of people. It says here, the global cabal theory has many variations, but basically there is a small group of people, a cabal that secretly controls everything that is happening in the world, Harari declared. All the wars, all the revolutions, all the epidemics, everything that is happening is controlled by this very small group of people who are, of course, evil and have bad intentions. This is a very well-known story. It's not new. So, this is what he's saying that these conspiracy theorists come out with. And this is exactly what the Bible is telling you. It tells you that, like I say, that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and they think of these wicked devices to use against us, especially the Israelites. And when I came to this truth, I came through a vision. I had visitation and a vision of certain biblical aspects, but these biblical aspects weren't shown to me in words, they were shown to me in picture form. And so one of those pictures was the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. And so obviously eventually I came across the Bible, and I realized that there is a scripture to it. And so I can definitely confirm that, we obviously come out and we give you this. I mean, you got Hebrew Israelites. We give you videos on all these particular bits of information. We show you how the banking elites are connected to wars and to revolutions, to epidemics. And so, you make your own mind up. But that's what they don't want you to do. They want to shut down that avenue of thought. So ultimately, this is why we're heading towards digitization with the credit score system. And if you speak up against the elites, they reduce your score. And obviously, so this will, all pushes into famine of the word. And obviously, once it comes to Jacob's trouble, even at the minute, we've been leading you up until the MOTB. And for the last few years, we've been showing you how close it is. And the powers that be have stepped up their game when it comes to shutting down the videos, particularly of the men of GMS and anyone with that same message. Carrying on here, says it's been there for thousands of years. Yes, it has. That story has been there for thousands of years, and because it is given by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai in the scriptures, it's prophecy. This Noah Harari, all he's doing is fulfilling prophecy that was written thousands of years ago. It says it's very attractive because, first of all, it's simple. Yes, it is simple. The truth is simple when you get to understand it. But what they do is they try to tell you, no, everything's complex, and they throw you all these different avenues and hypotheses, and ultimately, they blur the lines, and everybody thinks everything is just a random situation, from the Big Bang Theory to what job you're able to get, and so on and so forth. It says you don't need to understand everything that happens in the world. You just need to understand one thing: the war in Ukraine, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, 5G technology, the thing in 2020 and 21. It's simple, he added. There is a global cabal, and they do all of it. So he's kind of being sarcastic in the way that he's saying it. He's saying, as if you've got this one group of people controlling all these things. But is it not, the WEF that are announcing the next agenda for the worldwide economic system? So, what is that? Is that not a small cabal of people who are telling you how the world is going to be in the up and coming future? So, on one hand, they're playing the part of this particular cabal, but on the other hand, he's saying, what type of stupid idea would it be to think that that was true? Because he warned these crises are often blamed on the small hats or Freemasons, yeah, which is true. Yeah, again, that's something I've seen through the vision at the beginning. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, and these particular people have been about, especially the Freemasons, influencing certain situations, Jesuits, and from that, what they do is they design all these other particular religions and factions and ways of life and so on and so forth. It says it creates their utopian fantasy. If we only get rid of this small cabal, we solve all the problems of the world. Salvation, he pointed out. Well, that is also true. See, he's being sarcastic, but do we not know that 1% of all the world's wealth, 1% of the world's population own pretty much 90% of the wealth? So is that not like a small group of people holding on to all the money? And is not like pretty much everybody, 99.9% of people on this planet, broke and working their asses off just to pay their bills? So again, we can get rid of that one small group of people who have that 90% of the world's wealth, and we could all be a lot better off and a lot richer. So it's, the things he's saying is ridiculous, but obviously he's trying to be sarcastic. So it's simple, it's attractive, and that's why so many people believe it. So Harari then compared the belief of a sinister global cabal to, I'm not even going to say that word. He claimed that these people also believed that a cabal was trying to control the world. Well, again, they came up against you. There was a reason for that. And the basic idea of those people was that the small hats controlled the world. Well, it's the same thing then as it was today. Just get rid of the small hats and you solve the world's problem. And that's exactly what the Bible tells us. Obadiah 1 and 18. And it will come to pass one day. Harari's attempt to downplay the role of the WEF in shaping world policies is shameless. The WEF and Harari regularly boast about their plans to control the world. See, so he boasts about it, yet he's saying, what type of stupid idea is it to, it's it's like someone your best mate sleeping with your wife, and then when you say it to him, he'd say to you, "Oh, why would I do that? I'm your best mate," as if I'd do that. But it doesn't mean anything. It says, as the People's Voice reported, Harari has previously admitted that the WEF are creating a technological Noah's Ark on Earth that will only be beneficial to elites. During a discussion at the Warwick Economists Summit, he bragged that the world's elites will soon be able to use their immense power to escape a global mass extinction event that they themselves will create as part of a depopulation agenda. So again, they have this agenda to come up to depopulate, and he's been caught bragging about it and how, once they extinct the masses, it's them that will be in control. And when you look at this particular person, he's a small hat, and you can see the spirit of the devil in him. Everything about him exudes wickedness, and this is the type of people that you're dealing with. You're living your way of life according to some of the ideas that people like this come up with. So we're heading to that time where the MOTB is going to be implemented. World War III will be soon after that. And this is another video on Redacted. I'll put the link for this one. It says NATO just destroyed the US Constitution with this move. They've pretty much trying to imply that the NATO Constitution is more important than the US Constitution when it comes to declaring war. So that's interesting, because that's something that's happening now, just as talk of the MOTB is starting to really escalate, and the message is going out there to the middle classes that this thing is real. So like I say, World War III is on the cards, the MOTB is on the cards. And this is 1 Peter 1:9, says, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls, of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently. And that's what we've done. We've searched diligently, into the scriptures to understand the prophecy, to look at the world that we live in, the ever-changing world, and to understand the prophecy and link it up and explain it to you and bring this information to you. It says, who prophesies of the grace that should come unto you. And so we're telling you, if you hold fast to the name Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, if you believe that is the name of the Most High and His Son, and you truly believe that you are a member of the elect, you take this word seriously, and you go into these scriptures, and you're diligent, and grace will come unto you in terms of that deliverance. If you're an Israelite who doesn't take that route and who disregards this word, then you will ultimately get grace in the kingdom of heaven, but you're going to have to suffer through the time of Jacob's trouble and ultimately be destroyed in the day of the Lord. Searching what manner of the time of the spirit of Hamashiach which was in them did signify. So that's what we're doing. We're diligently searching what? The MOTB, and what manner of time the spirit of Hamashiach which was in them did signify. Because it's not us that are telling you that it's the time for the MOTB. It's the spirit of Yahweh Shai. And that's how we were able to tell you beforehand. And it says, when it is testified beforehand, the sufferings of Hamashiach and the glory that should follow. We're breaking down the history, and we're breaking down future events and everything in between, which includes the MOTB. So if you are a so-called prophet and you can explain all that, but you get the MOTB part wrong, then you're not working in the spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, because you're working in 99% truth, not 100. And it says, unto whom it was revealed that not unto themselves, but unto us did they minister these things. Because, we could have took this message and just kept it in a napkin, like a lot of Israelites have done. Ultimately, I could say, well, I know what the MOTB is. I know what to avoid, and I could just deal with that and just be happy with that. But we have the fear of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to pass this message on to you. And that comes through the Holy Spirit, the spirit of Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach. It says, unto whom it was revealed, it says, revealed to us through the Holy Spirit, through Yahweh Shai, that not unto themselves, but unto us, unto you, the Israelites, they did minister these things, which are now reported unto you by them that have preached the gospel unto you with the Holy Ghost, Ruach Kodash, sent down from heaven, which things the angels desire to look into. And so, we're explaining the MOTB, the Holy Spirit from above, from Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, told us what the MOTB is, and we told you. Now, the banking elites are trying to tell the world, first of all, through these alternate media channels, news channels, and they've made a small announcement here and there in the media, and very soon, Lord willing, within the next year, And this is going to be big news, headline news. You can't buy or sell without that MOTB. And before I go, I'm going to leave you with this. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And that's what we're telling you, very nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And swords represents weapons, and which could, the modern day weapon are guns, as well as knives and swords and so on and so forth. For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And this is all boiling down to the time of Jacob's trouble. A man shall desire go into a city, and shall not be able to, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Because people are going to be struggling to eat. It says here, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. How do you destroy a house with a sword? You take a sword and you juke a house. How far are you going to get? You might be able to break the window at best. That shows you that the modern day sword is a gun. Because to destroy a house, you need a gun. You blast it up. It says, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That time of Jacob's trouble is coming. It's right around the corner. Time to get your spirit right. So with that, I hope it's edifying. I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Bakar Kwadash. Until next time, Shalom.